To understand democracy, we must first understand governance. We'll keep the discussion simple even though the concepts discussed are generally broader. Governance is simply how we control the affairs of a people or country. This is very important. Democracy is one of many ways or arrangements by which the affairs of a people are controlled. We control the affairs of a people or govern by making laws regarding the people via legislation, controlling the actions of the people via policing, taking major decisions concerning the people, called policy, and even finding ways to finance the activities of controlling the affairs of the people. Example, through taxes. These are all activities that entail governing or controlling the affairs of a people. There are many ways or approaches by which every society has gone about controlling the affairs of its people through these activities throughout history. The approaches or arrangements are what we call forms of governance. That is, the arrangement in place for governing or carrying out those activities. If only one person controls the affairs of a people vis-à-vis those activities described, that is to say, if only one person has the ultimate power of governance, we call that an autocracy, literally translating to the power of oneself. Remember, these are simplified discussions for video, and the question of power, for example, is much broader. So stay with this. We will provide a reference for further exploration at the end of this. So again, if ultimately one person holds the power to control the affairs of a people, it is called an autocracy. Under different circumstances, this form can also be termed a monarchy or tyranny. When a small group of people govern together, we call that an oligarchy or aristocracy, or several other names, depending on what kind of people those small group of rulers are. The founders of the United States of America, for one, in designing their system of governance, which many countries later copied, called a form of government in which a small group of people rule a republic, taking inspiration from ancient Rome. They explained very clearly what their use of the term republic means in a series of articles called the Federalist Papers. So, preferring this idea of rule by a few, which they called a republic, they designed the United States to be exactly that, a republic ruled by the few, unequivocally on paper. Many authors and countries later blindly copied this word in their system of government and completely confounded and misappropriated the terms through the centuries that followed. When everyone in the country governs together, however, we call that a democracy, literally translating to power of the people. Remember, power here refers to the power of governance. That is, the power of the people to control their own affairs through the various activities in governance listed earlier, not just the power to vote or give others the power to control them instead. Democracy means where all the people can participate in important decision-making relating to controlling their affairs as a people. It is born from the idea that the people do not want only one or a small group of politicians to have the power or the final say on decisions affecting them. This is important. Again, democracy is born from the idea that the people do not want only one or a small group of politicians to have the power or final say or authority on decisions affecting them. Notice that this opposite or antithesis of democracy is exactly what we have today instead, where only one person, the president or a small group of politicians, that is, Parliament or Congress, alone have the final say on decisions affecting the people or country, whether the people like it or not. In fact, every day, citizens in various countries across the world are constantly protesting because daily decisions are being taken against their will.
I'm afraid for our democracy. The man has gone off the rails.
This is a revolution, not a simple removal of the president.
This is the exact opposite of democracy. In ancient Greece, where the word as we use it comes from, they tried to achieve democracy because they too were tired of protesting every day against the power that one or a few politicians had over them. Their goal was to diffuse this power of governance to everyone instead. This was and has always been the meaning of democracy up until the 1700s and 1800s. Later, however, scholars like Joseph Schumpeter struggled to understand how the true meaning of democracy can be achieved today in large countries. So they decided themselves to change the meaning of democracy to suit what was convenient to their understanding at the time. This travesty completely eroded and confused the meaning of democracy in the minds of many over the years. It was made worse by the fact that more scholars and even trusted institutions like the United Nations bought into the false idea of democracy that was propagated. Over the years, they further conflated the word democracy with even more false but comforting ideas. For example, democracy came to be defined as competition for power. Meanwhile, democracy was actually meant to remove the competition of power and its many problems by diffusing or spreading this power instead. Democracy came to be defined as a set of rights and freedoms, but rights and freedoms have never been limited to democracy. And in fact, some monarchies in the past created better rights and freedoms for their citizens than Athens did when they attempted democracy. Democracy came to be defined by multi-party politics, when in fact factions, or party politics as we know it today, helped kill Greece's first democratic experiment. In fact, the meaning of the word democracy today has been made so loose, different people now decide what democracy means to them, so that democracy now means so many things. It almost means nothing, in fact, and scholars now admit to a difficulty in defining it. In truth, however, the real meaning of democracy has and will always be very simple, where the people or citizens control the direction of their country together. There are ways to achieve this, even in large countries, whether directly or indirectly. But what we have today are only disguised as indirect democracies, when they are in fact clever combinations of autocracies and oligarchies, or republics as others put it. These are extremely important issues and concepts to understand because the path to truly solving all our problems in governance today, across the world, starts with a proper understanding of these very basic concepts. If we do not understand that we do not have democracies yet, we cannot begin to think of ways to achieve it. If we cannot properly conceptualize our problems within the right frameworks, we cannot make progress or find lasting solutions to those problems, ever, as history continues to prove to us through the generations. To understand how true democracies can be created today, be it direct and indirect democracies, we need to unlearn and rebuild our entire understanding of governance and politics today, and the history behind everything. The book The Tragedy Called Democracy in the 21st Century takes a deep dive, exploring every dimension of our problems in governance today, through over 400 pages of text and more than 200 references for further investigation of these issues and more. It is the most exciting journey of education you will ever have on governance. Everything is in there. Like and share this video to help educate more people or support the effort, and explore and subscribe to our page for more content. See you in the next one.